Back in college, I first locked eyes with my ex-wife. Man, she was a total knockout, always surrounded by a crowd of guys practically tripping over themselves to get her attention. We had a few classes together over those 4 years, but with all the competition, I kept my distance and never made a play. It wasn't until we ended up at a laid-back study group one night that we really started chatting, and from there, well, it's like they say, things just fell into place. We got hitched, kicked off our careers in the same field, but worked for different outfits. It was a tough industry, mostly a boys' club, and I hit the ground running, climbing the ladder fast, while she kept stumbling trying to find her groove. Within a year of saying, "I do," she jumped to a new job, but the challenges just kept piling up. By our 3rd year together, she was pregnant with our first boy, and even with a baby on the way, she powered through her work like a champ. Then, out of nowhere, a routine checkup turned our world upside down. Her doctor found pre-cancerous cells in her cervix. The doc laid it out straight: if we wanted more kids, we'd better act fast because her condition was gonna get worse and she'd need a hysterectomy down the line. So, as soon as she was ready, we went for it, and she gave birth to our second son, barely a year after the first. More tests came back, and other doctors didn't sugarcoat it. They said she needed the surgery ASAP. With 2 little ones in diapers, she went through with it. Man, that was a gut punch. We'd always dreamed of a big, noisy family. After that, she poured everything into being an incredible mom, totally owning it. She stayed home, running the house like a pro, while I kept pushing forward at work. We had these tight-knit buddies from college, A and B, who were building their family at the same time as us. The 4 of us were thick as thieves, always hanging out, taking vacations, grabbing dinners, you name it. But then, in 2001, life threw a wrench in things when B got laid off during a rough patch in his industry. Jobs were scarce around here, so he stepped up as a stay-at-home dad while hunting for work. During that time, my ex-wife and B started spending more time together, hanging out with their kids, and their friendship got real tight. Too tight, as it turned out. They ended up having an affair. About a year into that mess, B came to her with a wild idea, a threesome, something we'd only ever tossed around as a bedroom fantasy. Things between us were still good in that department, just not as frequent. They knew this guy, C, who was game to join them. My ex-wife went along with it, and they had their night. Afterward, C dropped a bombshell. He was used to paying for that kind of thing and left a couple $100 on the table, asking for a solo round with her. She told him she'd need to think it over, and B said he'd follow up. Next thing you know, C connected her with someone else, and just like that, a side business was born. When B finally landed a new gig, my ex-wife was left to keep things going on her own. She played it smart, keeping her secret life under wraps with a burner phone and a rented storage unit for her work stuff. The money she made went toward outfits her clients wanted, and she even got a low-key car to keep things hush-hush. She only worked during school hours, making sure it never bled into our family routine. At home, everything seemed normal. She didn't mix her earnings with our bank account. She'd tell me she was pinching pennies to cover the boys' summer camps. As our sons got bigger, life stayed pretty steady. Weekends were all about family time, and we usually saved our alone time for those days, if you catch my drift. I was grinding at work, pulling long hours, so most nights we'd just crash on the couch, cuddling up to watch some TV. By 2016, our oldest boy was off at college, and the younger one was wrapping up his senior year of high school. Out of the blue, I got a call from B, who sounded shaken, saying my ex-wife was in the hospital, banged up bad. He didn't give me much to go on, just that she was in rough shape. I dropped everything and raced to the hospital, only to find her hooked up to a mess of tubes and machines, her face all busted up, broken jaw, smashed nose, cracked orbital bone, and maybe a concussion to top it off. She was hurting, physically and emotionally, and it tore me apart to see her like that. The cops had already been by and left, leaving me desperate for some answers. A nurse pulled me aside, handed me a bag of her stuff from the hotel room where it all went down, and told me to let her rest. Inside the bag, I found clothes that didn't look like her at all, high heels and a dress she'd never touch. The nurse doubled down, saying that's what she was wearing at the scene. Once they got her settled in a room, I called our boys to fill them in. As the pain meds started to wear off, she opened up a bit about what happened. Hungry for the truth, I got B on the phone and pressed him hard, why'd he know before me, and what the hell was going on. That's when he spilled it about her secret life, conveniently leaving out the affair and his own role in it. I was gutted, like someone yanked the floor out from under me. As time passed, she healed up, and I pieced together the whole story of her double life. I ended up telling our buddy A about the affair, and he didn't hesitate. B was out of their circle for good. Once my ex-wife was back on her feet, I made the toughest call of my life. I told her our marriage was done and she needed to leave. She wound up shacking up with B, and I started the divorce process. Now, 5 years later, I'm still struggling to let go. I still love her, deep down, and it feels like she's gone forever, like I'm mourning a death. The pain's heavy, and it doesn't let up. My boys know what she did, and I haven't said a word to her since she walked out. Fast forward to last night, my oldest, E, called me while he was away for the holiday weekend. A buddy of his had just told him that his brother, S, got into a motorcycle wreck. E was riding with him but didn't see it happen since he was up ahead. I hauled S to the hospital, where they were cleaning S up and getting him ready for x-rays. A nurse told me to sit tight and wait for the doc. I was in the waiting room, head back, eyes shut, trying to keep it together, when I heard my name. I looked up, and there she was, my ex, standing in the doorway. She asked if I had any updates. I told her I was still waiting. She hesitated, then asked if she could sit with me. I nodded to a chair nearby. It had been 5 years since the divorce, and I hadn't laid eyes on her once. I didn't know what to expect. Part of me thought she'd still be scarred up from that beating. She wasn't, but her face wasn't quite the same, not as perfect as I remembered. One thing hit me hard, her eyes. They used to sparkle, man, like I could get lost in them. Even with a mask on, they just looked dull. It's weird what sticks with you. Her smile used to light up a room, but now, I bet she just has that blank, everyday look. While we waited, we had this awkward catch-up, both of us tiptoeing around the past. She brought up the yard, said she liked how the landscaping turned out, how the plants I put in years ago had really grown in nice. That told me she'd been by the house, which threw me. She knows I don't have a clue where she's living, and the boys were told to keep her out of our conversations. After the divorce, I went all out to erase her from my life. I tore out the bushes she'd picked and planted, replaced them with my own. I didn't tell her, but I also gutted the inside of the house, redid everything, even knocked down a wall. Had a dumpster parked in the driveway for months. She asked how I was holding up. That I'm not sure what made me open up, but I admitted I'd been stuck in a rut, burying myself in work for too long. Lately, though, I've been trying to turn things around, started seeing a therapist, signed up for a gym membership, and even picked up bike riding to clear my head. She started to say something about how she's no longer, but just trailed off, leaving it hanging. She mentioned she only stayed with B for a couple of months before moving on. She's been working with a counselor who pushed her to take some college classes in her old field, which kept her busy for a few years. Now she's got a full-time job and seems settled. She added that she's barely dated, pausing like she was waiting for me to chime in. I figured the boys were probably filling her in on my life, so I didn't have much to say. Just then, the doctor came out and laid out S's injuries. The worst was his foot and ankle, crushed under the bike when it went down, and he'd need surgery today. Everything else looked okay. He's got a mild concussion but should be out in a day or two, depending on how he's doing. I offered my place for him to crash since I've got a spare room and can work from home. We'll sort out the details today, but I know that means his mom will want to stop by. That's gonna be a process for me, no doubt. A bit later, S is coming along great, and we're seeing improvement every day. He's still got a ways to go, but I'm optimistic. We decided he'll stay at my house while he's recovering. He's itching to get back to work next week, and his boss is setting him up to do it remotely, which is a huge relief. Getting him into the SUV is a hassle since he needs to stretch out, and a daily commute would be brutal right now. Folks keep asking about his mom coming over. Whenever she visits, I make myself scarce, head to the gym or hop on my bike for a ride. My oldest, E, has tried to set up a big family dinner with all four of us, but I've shot that down every time. Honestly, his mom's been real respectful about it. She doesn't push or make a fuss, just comes by to hang with S, cooks meals for them, and sometimes brings groceries to whip something up. Every now and then, S's buddies stop by, and things get a little loud, but it seems to take his mind off his situation, which is good by me. It's not like she and I never talk, but we stick to safe topics, mostly about the boys and what's going on with them. Here's the final bit, and I'll wrap this up. The doc says S is making solid progress with his recovery. He's still got a long haul with physical therapy, but he's getting around okay, hobbling here and there. He's still bunking at my place and working from home. To give him some breathing room, I've gone back to the office myself. His mom started doing these little things around the house, like folks have pointed out before. S isn't exactly Mr. Clean, so she's been tidying up after him, washing dishes, that kind of thing. Sometimes she cooks him dinner and leaves a plate for me, but I tell him to take it for lunch the next day. One night, she asked if I'd want to grab dinner out, since S had friends coming over. I passed on that. Later, she floated the idea of us sitting down for a meal to hash things out. I turned that down too. Finally, I found the words to lay it all out, what we had ended years ago because of what you did. It took me forever to move past that loss, and I'm not looking to go back there. She just nodded, said okay, and told me she gets where I stand. I let her know I'm fine with her visiting S until he's back on his feet. I thanked her for cleaning up, but I made it clear she didn't need to bother. I appreciate all the support and kind words from everyone, but I'm working through this. My heart's tougher now, and I'm focused on moving ahead.